In 2019, there was a big quarrel on the internet and on the media in general after Martin Scorsese's statement on the state of cinema.
The value of a film that's like a theme park film, for example, the Marvel type pictures, where the theaters become amusement parks, that's a different experience. And it's not even, I was saying earlier, it's not cinema, it's something else.
At that time, people called him an elitist who doesn't consider superhero movies cinema, while others defended him, and some people tried to, round it off things by saying that Martin Scorsese doesn't mean superhero movies is less of an art. He's just saying that those are different things. Basically, the usual shit that happens when someone gives their opinion whom other considered an outspoken word. Then Martin Scorsese wrote an essay in New York Times explaining his stand. He said, in many places around this country and around the world, franchise films are now your primary choice if you want to see something on the big screen. It's a perilous time in film exhibition, and there are fewer independent theaters than ever. The equation has flipped and streaming has become the primary delivery system. Still, I don't know a single filmmaker who doesn't want to design films for the big screen to be projected before audiences in theaters. He ended that essay by saying something that really made me create this video. For anyone who dreams of making movies or who is just starting out, the situation at this moment is brutal and inhospitable to art, and the act of simply writing those words fill me with terrible sadness. But all this facade was just a reaction. I'm not talking about the people who reacted on Scorsese's statement, but Martin Scorsese's statement in itself was just a reaction of something that's been going on behind the curtains. I mean, cause and effect. What happened in 2019 was the effect of something that's been going on, which is not been widely discussed in the popular media. So, in this video, I am going to discuss about that cause behind the strong reactions from Martin Scorsese and also from the Academy. And since then, what has changed in last 4 years and how that change might be good for aspiring filmmakers. Today, I am again going to quote this book of Satyajit Ray as he has explained the relation between art and business in the world of cinema. Ray says the optical toy had attracted two kinds of men. One was, of course, the future filmmaker who saw in it a new medium of expression. The other was the businessman who felt that the toy would provide a lucrative opening for the show business. As happens so often, the artist had no money and the toy was expensive one, and the businessman knew little about art. So it came to pass that the two were united for their mutual benefit and conceived the industrial act of motion pictures. The marriage has been a lasting one and the offsprings many and varied. Ray described this relation between artist and financier as a marriage, pointing out the interdependence of one on another. Now this setup feels reasonable, right? I mean, it is from an filmmaker's point of view, and even from an reasonable financier's point of view for that matter. But it might not be ideal from an big corporation's perspective. You see, in this setup, whether financier is going to earn money from the film or not largely depend on the ability of the artist, which means unlike other businesses where they directly control the result, in cinema they can't, because there is a big risky factor in between called artist. In the essay written in New York Times, Martin Scorsese described this particular concern. In the past 20 years, as we all know, the movie business has changed on all fronts, but the most ominous change has happened stealthily and under cover of night. The gradual but steady elimination of risk. Many films today are perfect products manufactured for immediate consumption. Many of them are well made by teams of talented individuals. All the same, they lack something essential to cinema, the unifying vision of an individual artist, because, of course, the individual artist is the riskiest factor of all. So in order to reduce the risk factor, studios started to invest in the already known properties like novels, books, and even previously successful movies. Their top priority was to cater the loyal fan base of the original material. Then they started creating franchises out of it so that they could make more profit, as the audiences were interested to see the characters and world they only have imagined. As we all know, Marvel mastered this game. They created an entire universe based on the already popular characters from the comic books, where they every year release 3 installments which are all interconnected. So in order to follow what's happening, audiences need to go to theaters and watch it. I said theaters because there is also a certain peer pressure to be part of this popular culture. By doing this, they ensured not just the success of the film they're releasing, but also of the upcoming one by showing those mid and post credit scenes. And as we all know, they made a whole lot of money. But the grass can't be green whole year. As we discussed, Marvel created an perfect formula to ensure the financial success of their every movie. Because of that, the identity of a movie on its own were nothing. Every movie feels the same. They change the characters and places, the external things, but in the end, it's the same shit. The mid credit and post credit part of the film became more important to people than the actual movie. Basically, what Scorsese said, that these movies are made by the group of talented individuals, but they lack something essential to cinema, the unifying vision of an individual artist. As a result, people started to ignore these same monotonous movies, and because these are the movies whose largely acquired cinema halls, it felt as if people have drastically reduced going to theaters. But last year, something interesting happened. The most discussed movies in the pop culture were not any franchise films or any superhero films, but standalone films like Barbie and Oppenheimer. None of the films offers anything like a big action showpieces or any pumped thrill. They are both dramas. Still, these movies not just created a pop culture buzz but also was big commercial successes and also went on to win many accolades. As the member of the industry knows that these are the movies which needed to be celebrated in order to promote making more sensible cinema. In the start of this year, Denis Villeneuve's Dune continued this development. The important thing, which is a commonality of the movies I just mentioned, is that these films are made by strong visionary filmmakers who have their unique directing styles. These movies feels refreshing largely because of their filmmakers, and this might be the new thing. According to old Hollywood system, star is a term used for actors, actresses who had an ability to bring people into the theater just by their name alone. These individuals typically have a strong track record of successful films. Now by this lens, if we see these filmmakers, I feel at least Christopher Nolan and Denis Villeneuve fits in. Maybe Greta Gerwig too, or she will definitely. Even if we look at the marketing of these movies, filmmakers were a big part of it, and understandably so, because these individuals have a quite influential and strong filmography. But again, the question arises, is it good, and is this the future? Well, I don't know, because not necessarily every filmmaker has a vision. Some people, they just create because for them it is a compulsion to express. But I wouldn't be surprised if people will go to theaters based on who is directing it, because it's not a new thing. There always have been filmmakers who attracts audiences just by their name alone. To be honest, I don't think that anyone knows what's going to happen because it's still happening at the moment. But it always better to discuss this thing to be aware rather than looking back from the future. And I think that's a good note to end this video. So thanks a lot if you're still watching this, and I will see you in the next video then. Have a nice day. Bye.